So, I've come across this argument that I've seen mostly on wrestling posts, but I mean, this could apply to anything. But I've seen this argument a few times over the last few weeks, and I want to do a video on it because I just think this argument is so stupid, and I think it falls flat on its ass. And basically, what I'm talking about is, like, if you give your opinion on something, like you give your opinion on something, and it's a fair opinion, you should, whether it's a good opinion or a bad opinion. But most of the time, this happens when a negative opinion is shared. When you don't like something, and then it's a fair opinion. You have the right to share your opinion, and then you've got some dickhead that comes along and says that oh, you just don't understand, or your opinion is wrong because of this or that. But really, what they say, and what I'm trying to get at, is they'll say, oh, you haven't done this, you haven't done what this person has done, so therefore you can't criticize. And what I'm trying to say is, I've come across, like I said, this came across in wrestling. I made a comment a few weeks ago on a wrestling post. I can't remember what it was exactly, but this person replied and said that, or no, it didn't actually reply to me. He actually made the comment first, and then I replied, putting holes into his arguments, or not that the argument already had holes, but I was pointing out all the holes the argument had. And he basically said, because it was about a wrestler called Roman Reigns, now I'm starting to remember, and it was kind of a critical post, and basically what the guy was saying is, well, have you ever gotten to the ring and trained with anyone? Have you gotten into the ring and trained with him? Basically, are you a wrestler? No. So he basically said, well, you're not a wrestler, so therefore, you can't criticize. Now, this argument really irritates me, and it really makes me mad because it's so stupid. It's such a stupid argument, because by that logic, okay, let's just say we're going with that logic, okay? So by that logic, you can't give your opinion on a movie. You can't criticize a movie, whether it be good or bad. This could apply to good or bad, but it happens with bad, unsurprisingly. But I mean, you could also say something good about a wrestler, and then someone could say the same thing. Say, oh, well, have you ever been a wrestler before? Have you ever wrestled a match? No? Then you can't give your opinion. That could apply to anything. So, like, you can't give by that logic, you can't give your opinion on a movie because you're not a director. You can't give your opinion on an actor because you're not an actor and you haven't taken acting classes or anything. You can't give your opinion on music or a song because you are not a musician or a music producer or anything. You can't give your opinion on a book because you are not an author. You can't walk into a restaurant, eat the food, and you can't give your opinion on the food that you ate because you're not a chef. You see what I'm getting at here? You see how many holes this argument has? If that was true, if that was just universal, if that logic was just used universally, we wouldn't have gotten anywhere. Because criticism is needed in society, okay? Criticism is needed for authors that are trying to get their books out there. Stephen King, one of my favorite authors, you don't think he received any criticism when he was writing and starting off? You don't think, I'm trying to think, insert your favorite musician or band, you don't think they ever got any criticism about their songs and stuff to help them get better? Or movie directors, actors, you don't think they ever got any criticism? Do you think they all just got positive, feedback? The point is, everyone needs criticism to improve, whether it be good criticism or bad criticism. But criticism is criticism. It's what helps you get better, whether it be at a profession or even as being a person. So, but yeah, you know, just because you haven't done something doesn't mean you can't give your opinion on it. You know, and some of those more negative opinions can maybe help someone out. You know, if they're trying to be a writer and they see some of the more negative reviews or opinions, maybe they could study those, study the critiques, and then maybe think about those the next time they write their next book, or make their next movie, or cook again, or in the case of wrestling, the wrestler could think about that the next time he has a match. You know, I'm not saying that you have to listen, just look at all the negative opinions and try to make it to where it suits all them, but you can just maybe look over some of the critiques that some people have, some of the more common critiques, and maybe just take those seriously. But anyways, yeah, I really hate that argument. I really despise it, And at the end of the day, it's really just a desperate argument that someone makes when someone gives a negative opinion on something that they like. If someone, in this case with Roman Reigns, I mean, the guy is obviously a Roman Reigns fan, which is fine. You can like who you like. But you can't go on there and say that you can't give your opinion on him because that person has never been a wrestler. Because again, by that logic, you can't give your opinion on a movie because you're not a director. You can't give your opinion on a book because you're not an author, and so on and so forth. And like I said, if that logic were universal, we wouldn't have movie critics. We wouldn't have things like Amazon where we give opinions on all kinds of stuff. Books, movies, clothes, all types of stuff on Amazon. There's a shit ton of stuff on Amazon that we rate for the star ratings that people give their opinion on. And sometimes the ratings help people decide whether to buy something or not. So yeah, that argument, it just doesn't hold water. And you could say the same thing. This might be kind of a dramatic example, but slavery. And I'm sort of correlating criticism and then just giving giving negative opinions on something. But if slavery hadn't received negative opinions or hadn't received criticism, it would have never ended. So criticism, as well as negative opinions, are sometimes needed. Even if it applies to something that you personally like, Which again, if you like that thing, fine. It's totally cool. You're allowed to like what you like. But, you can't freak out when someone doesn't like what you like and say, well, you've never been a wrestler or an author or a director or a chef, so therefore you can't criticize that or that or that. So yeah. I don't know. What do you guys think? I just think it's a pretty faulty argument. I think it's a argument that really doesn't hold water. Because, people will have their opinions, Everyone's going to have their opinions, whether it be good or bad. And you have to be willing to accept the negative opinions with the positive ones. So yeah. But yeah, so that's it for this one, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace.